Guys, again, we are so pleased to welcome back to the Tea with April. Yes, we're sipping together.
Ah,
Yes, Governor Wes Moore, Democratic governor of Maryland. Last time we talked about issues. Again, we're talking about more issues, an impact on the city that I was born in, I grew up in, he lived in, Baltimore. Um, President Trump has put in his mouth the names of cities like Oakland, California, a city that is run by a Black woman mayor by the name of Barbara Lee, who was once a congresswoman, who also worked closely with the Black Panther Party. He has also put in his mouth the city of Baltimore. The city of Baltimore, Maryland, that has a Black mayor by the name of Brandon Scott, who calls the state and the city Wakanda because of its richness. Don't believe what you see just all about The Wire. It's not just The Wire in Baltimore. Baltimore is a beautiful city of neighborhoods, wealth. Yes, there's poverty. And it's a city where crime has decreased. And without further ado, I just want to bring on my friend. He was my friend before he was governor, because we're going to
that's
sip some
right.
tea. Governor Moore, thank you for joining me this morning. Yes.
My sister
And
April, good to see you.
yes,
It's
my
always good to sip some tea with you.
sip. Yes. Now, I texted you when I was actually driving back Monday from Martha's Vineyard, where you were as well. You were doing business and you were holding a fundraiser. Um, but I didn't go because it was a fundraiser because I'm a journalist. But you were there in Martha's Vineyard when all of this was going down. And I was texting you, and you were like, "It's a lot." You were working. You couldn't get back to me because you were working in this place that's supposed to be restorative. You said it's getting worse. How worse has it gotten? Give us the details, please.
And it's hard because it is getting worse, but it's not surprising. Because you see that the goal that we see of this administration is actually just cruelty.
Yeah.
That you cannot believe in or pass the policies that they are passing, policies that are literally pulling people off of healthcare,
Mhm.
policies that in the state of Maryland are cutting about $250 million from rural healthcare, from places and parts of the state that had not seen investments for generations, that the state has made historic investments in, that they're now pulling that kind of resources out, taking food assistance away from children, and doing this while all giving billionaires a tax cut and smiling about it, and now continuing to see how this relationship that we have between the federal government and our states is not just altered, it's severed. And you mentioned all those cities and all those places that we're now that they're now talking about deploying members of our National Guard, citizen soldiers, into these areas. There's another thing that all of them have in common. It's that Donald Trump hasn't stepped foot in any of them.
Mm.
He just continues to use these old tired tropes about violence in black communities and all these things, but without stepping foot in the communities, and frankly without understanding or having any type of data reflecting what's actually going on. Like, we're really proud of the encouraging work that's happened in partnership with my friend Mayor Brandon Scott inside of Baltimore. Like, you want to talk about Baltimore, you got Baltimore on your lips. Well, let's talk about Baltimore. Well, in 2002, Baltimore was averaging almost a homicide a day, right? And what did we start doing? We started working together. We made historic investments in local law enforcement, historic investments in technologies and predictive analytics, historic investments in community groups, community violence intervention groups, community violence interrupters, working closely with the mayor, with the state's attorney, with the U.S. attorney. And what's been the result is that now Baltimore, the last time the violent crime rate was this low, I wasn't born yet in Baltimore. So for him to talk about Baltimore like it's a hellscape, all it serves is a very unneeded reminder of the fact that A, he's not spending any time here, and B, he just feels like these tropes benefit him politically.
So let me say this, and I am old enough to have seen The Wire. I've never watched it because that is not all of my city. And I know some of the actors there. And I'm so proud that they did do something on that. But that is not all Baltimore. The
That's right.
crime rate, as the governor said, has dropped. Okay. It has dropped 26%. In the city of Oakland, their homicide has dropped, right? But and Governor Moore, here's the thing. You're a well-traveled person, you know a lot of these people. San Francisco is right across the bridge.
Yeah.
It was just recently a lot of stores left San Francisco because of the crime there.
Correct.
Do they have a black mayor now? And, I mean, seriously. So,
Yeah.
guys, I mean, we have to really look at this. And I'm not, people like to say I'm race baiting, but it's not a coincidence.
It's not.
Baltimore has been on this man's lips since the first administration. This is Baltimore and Trump 2.0. Remember when the late Elijah Cummings, our friend Elijah Cummings, was alive, and he was a congressman at the time. He was going after Elijah Cummings, and Elijah Cummings was not well because of the stance that Elijah Cummings had against Trump. Someone broke into his home when he was sick, and they messed with Elijah Cummings. Baltimore was on his mind, and now this is 2.0. So what are you hearing as it relates to Baltimore, Trump taking the National Guard, asking the National Guard to deploy to Baltimore? Because you are a governor. This is different from DC. He tried this and he did it successfully to an extent in California, in Los Angeles. We're expecting him to try it in Baltimore. How can you stop him, or what can you do if they are deployed?
Well, it's not even just what I'm hearing. It's I want what they're going to hear from me is I am the commander in chief of the Maryland National Guard. Period and full stop. That I'm the 63rd governor of the state of Maryland, but along with that means I am the commander in chief of our state's National Guard and our state's Air Guard, and I will not authorize the usage of our National Guard for something that is not mission critical or mission aligned. Period and full stop. So if the idea comes in, or if the request comes in to mobilize a National Guard in either one of our cities or another city, and I do not deem it to be mission critical or mission aligned, I can give you my answer in one word: no. Because as the commander in chief, this is something I take very seriously. And I take it very seriously, both from a professional perspective, but also from a personal perspective.
Mm.
Because unlike the president of the United States, I've actually worn the uniform of this country. Unlike the president of the United States, I actually deployed overseas and fought on behalf of the United States of America. I know what it's like to say goodbye to my family. I know what it's like to wear a US issued military uniform. I know what it's like to patrol communities. And so I do not need and will not accept any type of lecture from someone who the only uniform they have worn is a Brooks Brothers suit about how to utilize members of the National Guard. That there's a very clear line as to how our guard is supposed to be used and utilized. And it's something I take very seriously. It's something that I have exercised since I've been the governor. Usage of our National Guard in times of crises and in times of emergencies. And the members of our guard know if it does not hit those criteria, they are not going to be mobilized, and I will not issue that order.
You're saying if it's not mission critical, and you're saying basically right now Baltimore is not mission critical, and you will not authorize. With all the respect in the world I have for you, but knowing Donald Trump, he doesn't care what you feel, and he's going to move. He's created a false narrative. It's a false narrative, and I will even go as far as saying it's a lie on these cities that the crime is so bad. What happens if he pushes? What tools do you have in your toolbox in the state of Maryland to fight him?
The oath that I took, I've taken two oaths. One was when I joined the United States Army, and I promised to defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And the second was when I took the oath as the 63rd governor, and I promised that I would abide by the Constitution and the Maryland Constitution, and I would protect the people of our state. Uh, Me saying I will not authorize is unless I find it to be mission critical and or mission aligned is actually my constitutional authority. It's my constitutional right. I know our Constitution. And if there's one thing that the people of this state know about me too, is I'm not a career politician. I have not been running for office for decades. What I am is I'm a soldier, and I plan on standing my post.
And your post is the state of Maryland, where Baltimore is included.
That's right.
PG County, a whole bunch, and it doesn't even necessarily have to just be Baltimore.
That's
Um,
right.
yeah. So, with that said, Have you been in contact with Muriel Bowser, the mayor of Washington, D.C., who cannot fight against, who is the DC Police Department is being, I guess, led by the Department of Justice, but the police chief says that she's led by the mayor. I mean, there's so much confusion, but have you been in contact with her about this overtake of the city by the National Guard and the FBI, DEA, all the federal authorities?
Yeah, no, and I have been in touch with the mayor, and I'm I'm heartbroken for her. I
Mm.
mean, I understand the complexity of the situation that she finds herself in. This, frankly, is part of the reason that I know she has pushed for and I have supported long before any of this the idea of DC statehood. But but I my I do truly I feel really bad for the unfortunate situation that she does find herself in because DC, because of its status, is a very unique status
Yeah.
inside of this country in terms of authorization of guard forces, authorization of police forces. So it's much more complicated. Where in a state like Maryland, the lines are very clear, and so I do understand and I feel for the situation she finds herself in.
What is your what would you recommend to the residents of Maryland, residents of Los Angeles, the residents of Oakland, the residents of even New York? And I'm telling you, if Eric Adams loses the mayorship there, which could happen, I really believe that he's really going to move in swiftly. Um, it's places where he doesn't have alignment, where he's not allied, that happen to be multicultural and black. Let's put it out there. Multicultural, Hispanic, black, anything that's not white male and straight. He's fighting against. What is your recommendation? That's right. Yes, we're sipping the tea. Mm. What is your recommendation for residents in these areas beyond safety and the fight back? What's your recommendation?
I mean, I think there's a few things. One thing that we always focus on in our state is take care of each other.
Yeah.
This is an important time to remember, that we are all neighbors in all of this. And I know in the state of Maryland, we have seen remarkable progress. Despite the fact that we have had the greatest assault on federal workers than anywhere in the entire country, despite the fact that just in the month of June, Maryland lost, I'm sorry, Donald Trump fired over 3,500 federal employees who happen to call the state of Maryland home. That's the largest federal firing month on month that the state of Maryland has seen in 30 years. That we are continuing to deal with the assault of federal institutions that are having their grants pulled and having their federal support now being questioned and pulled back. But despite that, Maryland now has an unemployment rate of 3.3%, which is about a full point lower than the national average. We've seen historic drops within violent crime. We're seeing a population increase. So Maryland is moving. And the reason is not because of the federal government. Frankly, it's in spite of. And the
Mm.
thing we have to be able to do, and the reason we've been able to move, is because in Maryland, we take care of each other. And that's the guidance that I would give to everybody else in this moment is that we have to be able to push back. We have to be able to fight. You have to be able to remember your rights and be able to stand up for your rights and your freedoms. And importantly, we've got to make sure that we are taking care of each other. Because if we stand united, the thing that this administration wants more than anything else is division. He wants to seep it and sow it because then we're easier to defeat when we're diffused. But if we stand united, we're a much harder target. And that's the goal I would give to everybody. Be a hard target.
So let me say that be a hard target. Wow. What's a hard target? Because everybody's not military.
Yeah, sorry. So in the military, we talk about everybody's a target. You're either a soft target or a hard target. And so for soft targets, you're just easier to get. You're vulnerable. You're the ones that they go after first because it's just simpler to go after you. Hard targets, they think twice about because they know with hard targets, there's consequences. So my guidance is be a hard target.
So as we're sitting here talking with the governor of Maryland, sipping our tea with April, um, I know that's right. Sip it, governor, sip it. I love
Lord.
this man. I love this man. He's a friend, so don't even. Yes, he's my friend. I knew him before he was governor.
Amen.
But listen, here's the thing. As you talk about the unemployment numbers, those numbers are going to explode in September, no matter how much they fudge the federal numbers. Yes, I said fudge because the president got mad because the former labor secretary told the truth and now he hired somebody else. But in September, when all of those people who took the buyout, the Doge buyout, are not on the employment rolls anymore because they are actually getting paid until September. Maryland's numbers are going to jump despite what the federal government may say, right? Am I
That's
correct?
that's that's correct.
Yeah. So, guys, don't pay attention to the federal numbers in September. Pay attention to Virginia and Maryland state numbers and watch the numbers explode. It's something that we don't want to see. Now, going to this piece, Mr. Governor, are you still on that governor commission thing at the White House that you were in? Because you fighting back. And are you still on that commission when you were with the president? Are you still there? Has
Oh
he
yeah.
fired you? You're
Oh
fired.
no, I haven't gotten fired yet, but I'm still a member of the Council on Governors, and also and I'm really proud that my peers, the other governors around the country, have just voted to name me the vice chair of the National Governors Association, and I'm now the chair elect of the Governors Association as voted by my
Ooh.
peers, Democratic and Republican. And so one of the things I love about this moment is that governors actually have a chance to do things. Like we can be innovative, we can be thoughtful. When we're looking at things like a large firing of our federal workers, well, you know what we're doing in the state of Maryland? We start an initiative called Feds to Eds, where if we know we have a shortage of educators inside of our classrooms right now, we're actually going to federal workers and saying, if you are qualified and if you are interested, get them certifications, get them trained up, and get them as quickly as possible into classrooms. So you can both help to address the fact that we have these random firing of federal workers and address the fact that we have a shortage of educators inside of our classrooms. And those are things that a governor can do. So I'm loving the fact that governors can actually be really unique inside this moment and be really creative. And I'm thankful that that my peers, the other governors around the country, have asked me to serve in this leadership role.
I'm here for that fight. You're gonna be in his face. I almost choked my
Listen, and one thing I think people have gotten very, very clear is, I am who I am.
You are.
I didn't come from a political system. I don't come from a political family. I don't. This is my first office I ever ran for. No political party ever tapped me and said, "You're the person." In fact, the political party was backing
Was
other people
yeah, right, right.
when I ran. So,
Kind of
so
a
I,
Barack Obama kind of thing. It wasn't your time, but he got in there and look at what happened. He made
but
history, so much history. They put his picture in the stairwell. His portrait. But anyway, you didn't hear me say that. I'm just so angry about this in your face. We don't like you and this stuff that you're doing because of the color of my skin, not the content of my character. I am this is an affront to humanity. It's an affront to us as people. As Brandon Scott says, definitely earned it, people.
yes,
DEI definitely earned it.
that's right. And but you know what though? The thing I do love though is again as a governor, you have the chance to move different. So for example, when we're seeing this assault from the federal government and from Washington on history and banning books and telling me that somehow that they're going to pull books from Maya Angelou and Ta-Nehisi Coates and they're going to pull them from our libraries. Well, you know what we did in
Ta-Nehisi
Maryland?
from Baltimore.
From
Ta-Nehisi Coast
Baltimore, from
Baltimore.
Baltimore, right? And you
Baltimore.
know what we did in Maryland? I actually signed legislation banning the banning of books.
Come on now.
So in Maryland, you cannot ban our books. And so it's this type of thing that I think governors actually have a unique chance to lead in a really powerful way inside this moment. And so as we continue to tell our people, do not back down. There's nothing to back down from.
This is like what they say in the divorce. Don't get angry. Don't use your emotion. Think strategically. And I gotta take my because I just got angry just now. But you know what? As I sip my tea, I'm calming down. Oh, restorative. This is a restorative conversation. But no, it
Yes,
makes
it is.
people angry to see you can spend all of this money on a ballroom that's going to change the optics of the White House. And who cares about a ballroom in the White House? They had sufficient space before. the intimacy and the exclusivity is what really made it. But yet you can't pay for Medicaid. You got
Well,
the
I mean, perfect example. We are going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on these National Guards, folks. And my point is this: you give me a couple $100 million and you say solve violent crime, I can show you how to do it, and I can show you how to do it how we did it in the state of Maryland, and did not require activating the National Guard. But we're
but
going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on this performance.
on this performance, and let's talk about performative. You were a member of the military. That daggone, yes, that daggone march that was on his birthday in front of the White House that he fell asleep on. He fell asleep on, yawning and fell asleep on. And now he's sending the military in place. I'm I gotta calm down because it's my, this is the name. I mean, it's just
No, what we just
wasted
need
money.
from. Yes, no, and honestly, we just this is a very difficult time for folks.
Mm,
And I think for a lot of people, there is a natural instinct that you can do one of two things. You can either lean out or you can lean in. And there's a lot of people who are leaning out. There are a lot of people saying, you know what, I'm done. This is why this doesn't matter.
no time
Um,
for that. No
and
time
we
for that.
don't have time for that. We need folks not to lean out. We need folks to lean in. We need folks not to just engage. We need folks to engage like they've never engaged before. We need folks to be able to speak out. We need folks to be able to align and work together and take care of each other. Because I'm telling you, the only thing that's ever gotten us out of crisis in this country's history, it's God's grace and it's leadership. That's it. Think about every crisis situation that this country has faced. Two things got us out: God's grace and leadership. And we're going to need both inside this moment right now.
Ooh, whatever higher power you call to, that part. Now,
That
this
part.
last question, and I thank you. And I love the fact this is the first time that I've been in your official office. Yes,
Yes.
I love that. Yes, thank you. Now you're the governor. You're in the highest seat in the state of Maryland. Presumably, you could go higher. We're not even gonna talk about that. But here's what I'm gonna ask you. You have all your little motorcades and everything, but do you still go grocery shopping? Because I'm taking this from the guy who ran for mayor in New York. The rent is still too damn high, and the
It
price of
is.
groceries are too damn high. Are you
And
going?
all over. And honestly, it's like, and the thing that gets me is not just Maryland. We're watching this all over the country. It's the price of groceries are too high. The price of energy is too high. We're
Yes.
watching the price of energy, and I think about places in, like, for example, New Jersey. They've watched in the past months their energy prices
Yeah.
triple
Yeah.
in the past few months. Like, the price of everything is too high. And the thing that we're seeing is that when you're looking at these policies that Washington is putting on board, these random tariff policies that's making everything more expensive. Everything from the clothes you are wearing to the food you are eating to
Yeah.
the electronics that are in your hands. Like,
Yeah.
everything is becoming more expensive because of these policies. So the short answer is yes. I will say I was just my wife just celebrated her birthday, and Lord have mercy, I'm walking through the store. I'm like, sheesh. I'm like, everything's everything
Wait
is
a minute. The
crazy right
governor
now.
walks in the store with his little shopping basket. Oh God! I got to get a picture of that. So wait a minute. In my mind, I'm watching you walk down the aisle shopping with your little basket, shopping for a card,
Oh yeah.
picking up the card, reading what it says to make it specifically for her, and then looking at the
Yes.
back, looking at the price. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
And then for a lot of stuff, you get up there and you put all the stuff in there, and then you get up to the cashier, and then they bring up the final number. You're like, I'm sorry, I only had like 6 things in here. But that is real. And it's honestly, it's a real feeling that I know that so many people in the state of Maryland, but also all over the country, are feeling right now. Where we're seeing how the price of everything is going up over these past 7 months. And
Beyond
yeah,
eggs.
that's right. And the truth is that this is something that the president of the United States actually ran on. He said, on day one, I'm going to bring down costs. On day one, I'm going to bring down energy prices. On day one, and not only has that not happened, they've actually continued to go up and go up even faster. So we have to remember in this moment that this is why taking care of each other in this moment matters so much. It's why in Maryland, we've had policies like where instead of giving millionaires a tax cut, in Maryland, we gave the middle class a tax cut. That instead of depressing wages and having a national minimum wage of $7.25, which is so offensive, I can't even begin on that one. That in Maryland, we raised our minimum wage inside of Maryland, making sure that people, especially people who are working multiple jobs, do not have to live at or below a poverty line. So we are making sure we're fighting for the middle class. We're making sure that we are fighting for working families because in many ways, this federal administration has left working families behind in the way they've thought about their economic policies.
Mr. Governor, first of all, I want to wish the First Lady a happy belated birthday. Cheers to
Thank
you and your expensive card, your birthday card from the store we don't know. Okay, but happy birthday, First Lady. And I want to leave you with this because you're talking about everybody be a hard target. I'm gonna leave you as I was in Martha's Vineyard, as we all know, because you saw my pictures. I was in Martha's Vineyard, and one of my sorors gave me this bracelet, and
Mm,
Michelle, and you can't say it, but I'm gonna say it. And this goes to this hard target. Be a hard target. The governor says it says be kind, but take no shit. With that,
mm,
thank you
say
for
it.
joining the tea. Mm.
Love being on the tee with you.
I love having you, Mr. Governor. Thank you.